Well, it was of course the most extraordinary day, and the remaining 3 days.
Behind the calm demeanor that America came to trust, Walter Cronkite carried the weight of history. From the moon landing to Watergate, he was there. But the day that truly tested him was when he had to tell the nation that President Kennedy was dead. What went through his mind as he delivered those fateful words? And how did that moment change the course of his career and the face of journalism? Join us as we uncover the story of Walter Cronkite, the man who became the voice of a nation. In 1969, 51 million Americans watched Walter Cronkite narrate humanity's leap to the moon, his voice a beacon of calm. But beneath that steady exterior, a hidden truth simmered, one that could have shattered his legacy. How did a small-town boy become the voice of a nation, carrying secrets that could change everything? This is where it all began. Walter Cronkite wasn't like other kids. Born in 1916 in St. Joseph, Missouri, to a dentist father and a mother of German immigrant roots, he saw the world through a reporter's eyes. By 8, he was scribbling notes on the weather and local gossip, devouring newspapers like they held life secrets. His curiosity was a fire that never dimmed. Why did this boy see stories where others saw routine? At 10, his family moved to Houston, Texas, a city pulsing with ambition. There, Walter thrived, shocked by the South's racial divides, but undeterred. He joined the school newspaper, the Campus Cub, and by his junior year at San Jacinto High, he was editor, shaping stories with a natural flair. In 1933, his talent won a statewide journalism contest, catching the eye of his teacher, Fred Burney. Burney didn't just teach. He pushed Walter to lead, handing him control of the paper. A rare trust for a teenager. What drove this young editor to stand out? Burney's mentorship opened doors. In 1935, while still at the University of Texas, Walter landed a reporting gig with the Houston Post, covering student politics and sports under real deadlines. The pressure didn't faze him. It fueled him. That same year, he made a bold choice. He dropped out of college. In the Great Depression, when degrees were lifelines, Walter chose the real world. Was this reckless or the spark of genius? His gamble paid off. Joining the Houston Press, he dove into gritty crime and politics, calling it the best decision he ever made. As a teen, he'd built a neighborhood telegraph network, a hint of his lifelong obsession with communication. That spark carried him to radio in 1935, first at WKY in Oklahoma City, then KCMO in Kansas City, under the pseudonym Walter Wilcox, to keep listeners loyal to the station. There, he met Betsy Maxwell, a sharp, driven colleague. Their instant connection led to a 1940 marriage that would anchor him for nearly 65 years. How did Betsy shape the man behind the microphone? Radio taught Walter the power of voice. When telegraph feeds failed during sports broadcasts, he improvised, weaving convincing tales on the fly. It wasn't always accurate, but it was compelling, revealing the influence a trusted voice could wield. He juggled odd jobs, announcing University of Oklahoma football games, managing a small airline, each sharpening his adaptability. Could these early lessons hold the key to his later success? In 1937, Walter joined United Press, a powerhouse newswire. His first major story was a new London school explosion, a tragedy that claimed over 200 lives under brutal deadlines. He delivered precise reports, learning that one mistake could end his career. The cutthroat world of journalism showed him the cost of truth and the temptation to bend it. Why did he stay true? In 1943, CBS's Edward R. Murrow offered him a spot with the elite Murrow boys at $125 a week, triple his pay. Walter accepted, but United Press countered with a raise and an extra $20 from executive Hugh Bailey. Loyalty won. He stayed, a choice that kept him close to the war's pulse, but cost him Murrow's friendship. Was this a mistake or a defining moment? That year, Walter joined the writing 69th, a group of reporters trained to fly bombing missions over Nazi Germany. On his first run, targeting Wilhelmshaven's U-boat pens, German fighters struck. A colleague's plane exploded, but Walter survived, even firing a machine gun. The program ended, but his courage redefined war reporting. On D-Day, he landed in Normandy amid chaos, then parachuted with the 101st Airborne into enemy territory, facing brutal combat. Later, he glided into the Battle of the Bulge, his reports bringing war's reality to American homes. What drove him to risk everything? In 1945, Walter covered the Nuremberg trials, watching Nazi leaders face justice. The exposure of propaganda's dark power cemented his belief: journalists must guard the truth. By 1946, he was United Press's Moscow bureau chief, navigating the Cold War's tense dawn. These years forged a man who saw information as both a shield and a weapon. From Missouri to Moscow, Walter Cronkite's journey was one of grit and truth. But as he stood on history's edge, a moment loomed, one where millions would see him falter, guarding secrets that could rewrite his story. In a city where truth was a dangerous whisper, Walter Cronkite learned to navigate a world of shadows. From 1946 to 1948, Moscow's Iron Curtain cloaked every word in suspicion. The KGB's eyes followed him, and the Soviet state controlled every story. Cronkite mastered the art of reading hidden meanings, speaking in hushed tones and trusting no one. This crucible taught him how regimes wield fear and deception to maintain power, a lesson that sharpened his lens on Cold War politics. He didn't just report events. He decoded their deeper significance in a world ruled by control. But what secrets did he carry from those silent streets? Secrets that could unravel his trusted image. By 1950, a new frontier beckoned. Television was no longer a novelty, but a revolution sweeping America. CBS, eager to dominate this new medium, took a chance on Cronkite, a print journalist forged of fires of World War II in Nuremberg. He had once dismissed an offer from Edward R. Murrow, skeptical of TV's depth. Yet, something stirred, perhaps the allure of shaping a new era. Joining WTOP-TV in Washington, he entered a world where news was a fleeting 15-minute slot, overshadowed by newspapers and radio. But change was swift. By the early 1950s, over 17 million American homes had TVs, and Cronkite's steady voice cut through the noise. In 1951, anchoring up to the minute, he won viewers' trust. Was this the moment journalism found its new voice? In New York, Cronkite's star ascended. Hosting You Are There, he wove history into gripping drama, captivating audiences. But behind the scenes, he was building an empire of influence. He forged ties with powerful figures, securing deals that would spark controversy today. One such arrangement involved trips to Panama for his family, perks that passed unnoticed in a less scrutinizing era. Cronkite also orchestrated high-stakes interviews, reportedly urging Robert Kennedy to run for president before securing an exclusive where Kennedy hinted at his plans. He wasn't just a reporter, he was a strategist, navigating power with precision. But how far could he bend the rules before trust faltered? In 1952, CBS thrust him into history's spotlight, tasking him with anchoring the national political conventions. For the first time, Americans watched the Republican and Democratic gatherings live, and Cronkite, dubbed the anchor, brought clarity to the chaos. Yet, whispers of ethical lapses lingered. Reports suggest he eavesdropped on a GOP committee room, a move that would ignite outrage today, but slipped by then. His coverage transformed how politics reached homes, but also revealed his willingness to push boundaries for a scoop. Was he a journalist or a power player? On April 16, 1962, Walter Cronkite took the helm of CBS Evening News, replacing Douglas Edwards. Before this pivotal role, Cronkite had built a formidable reputation as a journalist. During World War II, he reported from the front lines of United Press, even parachuting into combat zones with the 101st Airborne. His coverage of the Nuremberg trials after the war further established his credibility, bringing a seasoned perspective to the anchor desk. Amid the civil rights struggles and nuclear tensions of the early 1960s, America craved a steady guide. Cronkite delivered, not just as an anchor, but as managing editor, wielding near total control over the broadcast. On September 2, 1963, CBS expanded the program to 30 minutes, a bold first in television news. Previously, most broadcasts lasted just 15 minutes, but this extension allowed for deeper reporting and analysis, setting a new industry standard. Cronkite's debut interview in the extended format featured President John F. Kennedy, a landmark moment that highlighted his ability to secure high-profile figures and tackle pressing issues like the Cuban Missile Crisis and civil rights. This interview underscored television's growing role in shaping public opinion, as millions tuned in. By 1967, CBS Evening News had surged to the top of the ratings, a testament to Cronkite's trusted presence. Yet, his defining moment came with tragedy. On November 22, 1963, when Kennedy was assassinated, Cronkite's emotional announcement, removing his glasses as his voice faltered, etched itself into history. Watched by over 51 million households, he became America's uncle, a comforting figure in a time of national grief, forever altering the bond between television news and its audience. When John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963, Cronkite's voice broke as he announced the news, his glasses off, his grief raw. Over 51 million households shared his sorrow, earning him the title America's uncle. Yet, his close ties to Kennedy, secret interviews, and political nudging raised questions. He openly supported liberal Democrats, disdained Nixon, and aided Bobby Kennedy's campaign. How impartial was the man America trusted? On February 27, 1968, after witnessing Vietnam's Tet Offensive, Cronkite declared the war a stalemate. His words shook the nation, reportedly prompting President Johnson to say, "If I've lost Cronkite, I've lost Middle America." A month later, Johnson withdrew his re-election bid. But in 2012, Douglas Brinkley's biography revealed Cronkite's Vietnam report selectively edited interviews, darkening the war's outlook. Had he crossed into advocacy? As Cronkite's influence soared, so did the shadows of doubt. What happens when the voice of truth faces its own reckoning? When a nation holds its breath, one voice can carry its hopes and fears. In 1969, Walter Cronkite stood at the heart of history, guiding millions through the Apollo 11 moon landing. As the Saturn V rocket roared to life on July 16th, his excitement burst through a spontaneous "Go, baby, go," echoing across America. The CBS booth trembled, its plywood walls nearly collapsing under the rocket's force. Yet Cronkite held firm, gripping the window to keep it in place while narrating live. For 27 of the mission's most critical 30 hours, he stayed on air, his voice a steady guide through humanity's leap to the stars. Nearly 150 million Americans tuned in, with CBS outshining rivals, as noted by the New York Times. His bond with NASA ran deep. They saw him as more than a reporter, awarding him the Ambassador of Exploration honor. But did this closeness blur the line between journalism and advocacy? 3 years later, Cronkite faced another defining moment. In October 1972, with the Watergate scandal simmering but unknown to nearly half the country per Gallup poll, he took a bold stand. Over 2 nights, he devoted 22 minutes of CBS Evening News, 14 one night, 8 the next, to unraveling the break-in at the Democratic National Committee. His clear, unflinching reports transformed a murky story into a national crisis. Washington Post editor Ben Bradley later said Cronkite's coverage gave the scandal the legitimacy it needed, shifting public opinion, and paving the way for Nixon's 1974 resignation. The Emmy he earned for this work, one he treasured, marked not just reporting, but a fight for truth. Yet, whispers of influence lingered. Nixon's aides placed him on an enemy's list, a badge of his impact. How did one man's words shake a presidency? Behind the trusted facade, Cronkite navigated a complex world. In 1981, he stepped down from Pan Am's board to preserve his impartiality in covering aerospace stories, a move that underscored a commitment to ethics, as reported by the New York Times. Off camera, he shed his serious demeanor, embracing lively social gatherings, a side kept from public view, according to a 2009 Bill Moyers interview. His political ties, like encouraging Robert Kennedy's 1968 presidential run, raised questions about neutrality. Cronkite himself admitted to friends, per Douglas Brinkley's 2012 biography, that he feared his influence might one day unravel. Could the most trusted man have hidden flaws? Cronkite's financial life reflected his success. Though exact figures are elusive, his decades at CBS likely yielded a net worth in the millions, supporting a comfortable lifestyle. After retiring in 1981, he hosted shows, covered John Glenn's 1998 spaceflight, and remained a voice of reason until his passing in 2009 at 92. In a 2025 media landscape where trust is scarce, his example shines. He showed journalism could challenge power and inspire hope. What does it mean to trust a voice today? Walter Cronkite's journey from a curious boy in Missouri to the voice of America is a testament to the power of integrity in journalism. From the moon landing to Watergate, he didn't just report history. He shaped how we understood it. Yet, even he faced ethical dilemmas, reminding us that trust is hard-earned and easily lost. His legacy endures through the Cronkite School of Journalism, where future storytellers learn to navigate truth with courage. If this story inspired you, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more tales of those who dare to change the world. Because in a world of noise, it's the voices we trust that truly matter.